What's up residents, Alistair here, and today we're going to be breaking down a brand new teaser that Legendary has released as part of a sneak peek for Godzilla vs Kong. And it shows quite a lot of new stuff, so in case you don't want the film to be spoiled for you, I'm going to issue a spoiler warning. You've got until the intro begins in 3, 2, 1, let's get to it! Now the trailer is incredibly fast-paced, so I'm going to be going over all the new stuff and not the things we've seen in the dozens of other Godzilla vs Kong trailers up to this point. Like, we need Kong, the world needs him. It's like, we get it. We need Kong, alright? Okay, so the first shot we got is Godzilla arriving on what looks to be Hong Kong. You can kind of guess that because they have a junk boat, which is synonymous with Chinese culture. But what's interesting is it looks like the lights in the city are actually off, or at least significantly reduced compared to what we see in the later parts of the trailer. Does this mean that Mechagodzilla could be siphoning some of the electricity from the city in order to power it, or could they be turning the lights down in order to not get Godzilla's attention? Both these ideas are pretty valid. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section down below. Next up, we got the same shot of Godzilla's atomic breath, but it's been extended so you can see Godzilla turning his head towards the camera. And the CGI just looks so crisp. I love it, it looks so clear. Next up, we've got a super close-up shot of Godzilla, and he looks angry. He's probably staring at Kong, who's just showed up with his scary-looking battle axe. I say scary-looking because it's using pieces of Godzilla's ancestors to fight back. Imagine if someone showed up at your doorstep with an axe made of other humans. I'd probably run away. The CGI looks super realistic, even better than what we saw in King of the Monsters. And I love how natural the colors all look. It's not exaggerated, there's not extra warms, it's not extra cold, there's no orange teal color grading, it's just natural looking. Next up, we've got Kong being carried away by helicopters to Antarctica. Why are they taking him to this base? Well, the one theory we have is that it's actually the entrance to the Hollow Earth, and they might be dropping him into that hole. Antarctica is obviously a place that no one can really visit, so who's to say that there isn't a hole to the Hollow Earth in Antarctica? We actually see some evidence supporting this theory later on in the trailer, but let's move on to the next shot for now. We actually see the Hollow Earth mountains here, and they just look stunning. It reminds me of a shot from, like, Lord of the Rings. You can actually see the blue energy running through the ground, which actually has some significance to Godzilla, because it's similar to the blue energy that flows through Godzilla's dorsal plates. Next up, we have Kong getting raged up, and Godzilla roars, and he's standing in a similar stance to what we saw in 2014. So I hope we get that pan up as we see Godzilla's full scale. Next up, we've got an epic shot of a fighter jet from inside the cockpit. This entire scene looks like it's going to be absolutely breathtaking, and from the reports we've heard is that this entire scene is going to be 18 minutes long. Obviously, that entire scene is not just going to be fights, it's probably going to be half that, but even half that is an incredible amount of time, at least for film standards. I know my dad's going to really like this scene because he is a fighter pilot, but I don't think he's going to like seeing the fighter jet get whacked out of the sky. Next up, we've got Ren Serizawa, who is obviously Ashiro Serizawa's son from King of the Monsters and Godzilla 2014. He seems to have gotten off a helicopter and arrived somewhere, but where could this be? In my eyes, this is most likely an Apex base, potentially where they're hiding Mechagodzilla, but there's not much to go off in this image. Next up, we've got an extended underwater fight where Kong even kicks Godzilla in the face. Even though the ocean is Godzilla's domain, it seems that Kong can still hold his own. So good on you, Kong. But I just love how clear this entire scene is. To me, it's a complete 180 to what we saw in Godzilla King of the Monsters, where there's one underwater fight that is just so indistinguishable where you have no idea what's going on. This is how you do an underwater fight. This is clear, it's pretty to look at, and it's just awesome to look at. Next up, we've got an explosion that dwarfs Kong in size. First off, you might think this is unimpressive, but since Kong is now 330 feet tall, yep, that explosion is bigger than you might think. And what's interesting is that this explosion actually takes place in the Hollow Earth. You can tell by the blue energy coursing through the ground that this is actually the area where we see Godzilla's imprint on the ground. This is most likely where Kong gets his battle axe to use in his fight against Godzilla. Next up, we've got a shot from the human's perspective of Godzilla's arm or leg crashing down, and people are running, they're scattering, they're trying to get to cover. Frankly, in the entire monsterverse, we haven't had enough people running from these monsters. It's nice to know that this fight doesn't take place in an evacuated city. There are actual lives at stake here, so there's actual consequences to this entire battle. Next up, we have Gia sitting in the ruins of a temple on Skull Island, which further proves to us that she is a member of the Iwi tribe. And since she's the only one there, she may very well be the last of her kind. This may be why Kong actually sympathizes with her, because that's a direct mirror of her experiences. Kong is the last of his kind, and so is Gia. This might be where the connection actually comes from, which means they have to stick out for each other, which I absolutely love. Next up, we've got Alex Skarsgård's character holding a picture of what looks to be him with another person. But who is this person? Could it be his brother? His best friend? What's most likely is that this person was actually killed by a Titan. Whether it's Godzilla or Kong is currently unknown, but it's likely going to be part of his motivation to trying to get Kong to attack and kill Godzilla. Next up, we have a beautiful shot of Kong falling into the Hollow Earth. Now, this directly correlates with what I was saying earlier, with the helicopters taking Kong to Antarctica. The chances are they simply dropped him, and he's now free-falling into the Hollow Earth. My only question is, how is he gonna get out? What I find quite interesting is that the entire point of this Hollow Earth is to make the monsters that we perceive to be giant look small. Compared to everything else in the Hollow Earth, the Titans look like normal people. But then they go onto the surface, where everything is obviously a lot more tiny. It adds a layer of depth towards the Titans and their way of life. Next up, we've got a lovely shot of Kong looking angrily at something, and the colors just look, wow, it just looks absolutely beautiful. The lighting of Hong Kong is really going to make this probably the most beautiful kaiju fight we've had for decades, at least since Pacific Rim. Next up, we've got Godzilla's reaction, and we've got a reaction that we don't normally see from Godzilla. He actually looks scared, or at least worried about something. But what could it be? Well, if we take a look at this close-up of Godzilla's eye, we can actually see it's Mechagodzilla. Yes, he is scared of Mechagodzilla. This is probably after he got his ass handed to him by the mechanized giants. This is basically Godzilla's equivalent to the Terminator, or at least that's the way I like to look at it. Right, so that's the brand new teaser. It's crazy. It's fantastic. I love it. The thing that stands out to me is the music. It just gets me so pumped up. I love it. There's not much else to say. I mean, obviously every teaser is revealing something new, and I wish I could stop watching them, but obviously I have to deliver all these breakdowns and analysis to you residents. There's some stuff that I would have liked to have remained a secret. Obviously, we have split seconds of Godzilla and Kong fighting, but realistically not much else. And there was absolutely no way they were going to be able to keep Mechagodzilla a surprise until the film came out. Hell, we all knew about it already, and Adam Wingard even just said the cat's out the bag and showed a picture of him with a Mechagodzilla toy on his Instagram. So I guess that's that. I guess it's not really a spoiler anymore. Yep, Mechagodzilla's in Godzilla vs. Kong. There we are, cool. Feels good to say. Right, if you enjoyed this video, then leave a like, because it helps this video reach a wider audience. What do you think about the trailer? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, then subscribe and stomp that notification button to become a resident of Dangerville today. I've been Alistair, your mayor of Dangerville, and we'll see you residents in the next one.